What's up, everybody? This is Chris Holmes, owner of Soul Production, and this is Your Voice. Today you will see a video of me and my coworker Eddie, how we talk about topics that pretty much anybody wants to talk about, but like being Soul Productions, we're going to actually have your voice being heard, and you will hear a raw video, unedited, straight to the point, how we like get into a conversation. And this is what I want to make Your Voice all about, how we get your voice out there and your opinion finally heard.
To stand up against a big corporation that has, their assets, resources are unlimited pretty much. And because I know for a fact, I'm not for, my own sake or whatever, I know there's a company that's had several employees go to the supervisor, to the management, and complain about, how they've been mistreated, or, this race of people was getting promoted faster than this race, and they had sexual harassment and everything else. But pretty much what it came down to is like the supervisor was like, unless you got like film footage or something that's some type of documentation,
They're not going to believe you.
You're going to be wasting your time. And we got corporate lawyers and all this type of stuff, and they already know you're making minimum wage. Anywhere where you can pay an attorney $2,000-$3,000 to try to take on this lady who pretty much has.
See, that pretty much screws up for like most of the people too. It's like, they probably might have like some strong evidence and stuff like that, but because they can't afford, the right people and staff, it's like you pretty much screwed.
And I'm gonna tell you something else too that I learned about that too, is that a lot of times the attorneys know if they want something easy, unless there's someone that's already established. They don't want to take on little puny, something that's not going to earn them any money or bolster their career or whatever, solidify their little resume, or boost their resume. And what happens is they see you is someone like TDC or something that big, like a state agency. They ain't know where they're going to take them on. They just know that their chances of winning are slim to none. And a lot of times, like I say, you never know what goes on. There may be threats or something made, behind the scenes, or it's something like that, where they'll let you know you're not going to take this case. You know what I mean? We know your family. We got this on you. You're not going to take the case. And it's hard, man. Even right now, I know people that were incarcerated that got in a bus wreck. While in the custody, you awarded the state when you incarcerated. Pretty much, you belong to the state. But if something happened to you, like car accident, something like that, they still supposed to be liable for you. They're supposed to try to compensate you if you have injuries or anything like that. And this stuff happened like 20 years ago, and they still got the lawsuits tied up. Exxon Valdez, I think that happened in the 80s. They just now paid out all the lawsuits, everything that was supposed to be owed out to the people that were involved or whatever. They just now did that like 3 years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
It took them too long.
Yeah.
See, cases like that, they want to wait till the last minute, or it's pretty much forgotten to the public.
Yeah, people are passed on and everything.
And then that's the thing, the most, they do that on purpose too, the recent, for instance, in Huntsville, they have blasted that around the local area for one day, and then after that you don't hear nothing about it except from the local community. And then, that kind of hurts the case, because, if you keep informing people, then that pretty much will probably help out to spread word. Or be like, hey, if you heard something, consider, and stuff like that. But, the media plays some of the game, they can have you thinking this way or forget one thing because they don't advertise certain things. And that's how they pretty much, you can actually think about it, you can control society through the media.
I don't think it's a secret. I think they've been doing that for years. When they came out with the television, just like I was talking, to jump from subject to subject, but I was talking to my sister earlier, and she's a teacher and everything, and they were talking about the kids that are growing up now, 3, 4, 5 years old. Pretty much the jobs for them haven't even been created yet. The different different industries and stuff like that haven't even been created yet. And I can imagine that when we first came with TVs and cameras and all that stuff, can you just imagine what even with this camera right here and phones and just technology period, how much stuff is associated with it, how many different avenues and stuff that it opens up, and it's just a heck of a marketing tool. It's a lot of control to sit here and that someone's sitting at home any 2-3 hours a day. And
especially kids.
Oh yeah, especially kids.
That's like how they get things pretty much set up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you think about like the way,
like that,
how teenagers and pretty much how anybody acts in today's society is based off of TV anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like how little girls be like, oh yeah, you gotta be a certain size like this to look good. You gotta act a certain way to get a dude, etc. And then how like the whole switch of like my religion, I'm like against homophobia and things like that, but like I'm not like just do your own things, only you gonna try to like move that on me. But nowadays, like with the media, is like switching out like it's okay, and then you have so many people against it. But this is like a dilemma kind of thing. It's just like media pretty much can like move any kind of society how they think.
But you know what's so crazy about it, Chris? As I sit here and you said something about homosexuality right now, and this is one reason why I feel like it's obvious that this country has gone down the tubes as far as morally, yeah. But just like T.I. say, we piss poor morally. You know what I mean? That's why so many people are unhappy. You know what I mean? And it's so crazy because when you have someone like the Pope, I mean, when it comes to religious figures and you talk about influence and power, there's no one, when it comes to religion, there's no one bigger than the Pope. And even in politics, you might want to say, in some aspects, to have this man come out, and I'm not going to say word for word what he said because I don't know. I just seen a couple articles, things on the internet. But pretty much saying that it's okay to be a homosexual. I'm not going to judge you. And we've marginalized you guys for this long. And
I like girls.
But I just think that's what's wrong with our society today. And then I'm gonna bring something else up too about that. It's when they try to appease everybody instead of people just stand up and saying, look, no, it's wrong or whatever. The first thing I want to say is, well, there are people too. They got feelings. Well, if me being a Christian that I am and I believe in God, I know that. Throughout history, God has destroyed civilizations, man, where there was homosexuality and people they wouldn't, repent or whatever, turn from they sinful ways. And I feel like that's where our nation is going now. I mean, it's so crazy that, they're changing laws. They're pretty much changing the Constitution just so a man can marry a man. It's supposed to be something sacred by God, but because of the politics behind it and how many people are, gay now or whatever, they feel like, oh, the gay vote, I got to get the black vote, I got to get the Latino vote. Now it's the gay vote. But it's crazy because I look at all the things that are forming around us, and yet and still black people don't get any credit. It's still like the gays are more important than the blacks. The women are more important than the blacks.
Pretty much built this country. You don't get no kind of credit.
Oh, no reparations. They say that
it's like, thank you for building all these railroads, but we're going to still pretty much treat you like a modern-day slave.
Not only that, it's just so much more. So that we contributed to this society, to this country as a whole, but you never see it in a positive light. Everything that's usually about blacks, it's always in a negative image. And a lot of times, even how we look at each other is usually in a negative way.
Yeah, like I was talking about you earlier, like we see another black person, oh, he a thug, oh, he bad, just because like he's darker tone, hey, he must be doing something wrong.
Tell me how black it is. Black. The blacker they are, the more dangerous they are, baby. That's pretty much how a lot of people view us, man. It's sad, but I feel like we're making strides.
Not enough.
But not at the pace that we should.
And then on top of that, it's going to have to take a major shift. A huge major shift, like pretty much with all of us together to make a big change and pretty much put us in the position that we need to be. It's like look at the history books and things like that. They don't give us any kind of credit. It used to be kings and things like that. Well, when's the last time you seen a high school student come from school and be like, hey, mommy or daddy or whatever, we used to be kings, They don't let go of that information. They want us to give us the regular like, you know, history they throwing out about the Martin Luther King and, like, you know, maybe a little bit about the Malcolm X, but it don't include information out, like, you know, big time leaders like Huey P. Newton, Fred Hampton, and, you know, around those days, the Black Panthers were treated like, you know, big time racism, like a big racist like regardless, but like they really weren't. They pretty much just trying to protect their own people because in that time, police brutality was like heavy and hard hit on them, and they had to do something to defend themselves. Like, we can't just allow you just to run over us and beat us with threaten us with guns, run up into our houses and treat us like, you know, pretty much shit. You know, because that's pretty much like the only we can say, because they did pretty much treat us like shit. And so we had to form kind of some sort of organization to defend ourselves. But nowadays, with the media portraying like the Black Panthers as they are now, like anytime you hear anything about the Black Panthers, you think like they're racist, and they weren't really all about that. But that's a stereotype, like, you know, it's just a common thing going around.
You had to, I look at it like this: you had to fight fire with fire. They tried peaceful means. They tried, you know, rallies, protests, and it just come a point in time where someone has to say enough is enough. And I thank God for the history, the brothers that did stand up, that realized that you know, because that's what it takes sometimes. Sometimes you have to be aggressive. Sometimes you have to be the. I mean, you just got to put your foot down and say, you know, enough is enough. And if it would have been for them brothers, like, there's no telling where we would be at. You know what I mean? There was no telling how many. At least there was like a cry and they heard it. Or there was a voice and people were saying, no, we're tired of it.
And it's so crazy because, like, you know what, I'm liking all the technology we have nowadays, but it seemed like, you know, the stronger technology that we have is like the more lazy we have. It's like, you know, where's like, you know, the enthusiasm, like to go and protest, get in their face, protest and all that. It's like you pretty much gotta lay back and be like, okay, I'm gonna tweet this. Like, no offense, like, you tweets and all that, you know, can get the word out. But you gotta get in the face of people. You gotta actually say, like, okay, we mean business. We will get up and talk to you face to face and make a stand for what's right. And I guess it's like, you know, at the same time, it's like technology is sometimes like hurting us at the same time. We don't even notice.
I mean, I think, you know, the social media is
Then on top of that, you gotta watch. They pretty much watch the internet and social media too.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what they did. Anytime the government, I've noticed it with all the black leaders in our history, they feel like you get too much power, and they feel like people are listening to you, and you're going to do something positive. They look at you as a threat, and they'll hurry up and dismantle you. They'll label you as a terrorist. They'll label you. They passed the RICO Act. It's supposed to be for the mafia or whatever, for the mob, but I didn't see them use it for black disciples and gangster disciples, Bloods, Crips, or whatever, just so they can arrest 20, 30, 40, 50, the unlimited amounts of men. They don't have to have a necessary charge, specific or a certain charge, but under this law, it can be anything from, you know, money laundering, racketeering, or whatever.
It's like the freedom of speech has been thrown out the window. Like, you can talk anything, but as long as you don't like say stuff against this. Like, what happened to freedom of speech?
Yeah, the powers that be. You can say it, but don't offend the wrong person. Don't say it about the wrong person.